And good morning and welcome to another edition of the College Football Show. My name is Ralph Williams. I am the host of this show. And let me talk to you. Yeah. What do you want to talk about today? What do you want to talk about? Guess what we got to talk about today? Michigan football, LSU football. I got two great people here with me today, Pensman and Brian Pettit. They are with Brandon Keeler, and they are down in the Carolinas with Brandon Keeler, enjoying some time down here with him. So today, my special guests are Jeremy BALLREICH from the Detroit Lions, who covers the Detroit Lions, Michigan Wolverines, and has a tell everybody about yourself, Jeremy, and welcome back to the show.
Well, I've been busy, Ralph. This has been one heck of a season. Writing about the Lions has been a passion of mine as a lifelong fan. I got into it on accident, as you know. I made the comment on the right show at the right time and got asked to be a journalist about them, and I took it. And now I've been doing my podcast and writing for 4 seasons, and I've added the Jaguars and the Buccaneers with Roundtable IO. So things are going great. Sitting close to 600 subs because I like to grow organically. I want to do it the right way with my podcast.
All right, very good. Thank you, Jeremy. Ryan Neal, Amped Up Sports, covers LSU. We're going to talk about Lane Kiffin and his what they call transfer from he was with Ole Miss and now he's with LSU. We're going to talk with Ryan about that today as well. That's why I have Ryan with me. Ryan, tell everybody about yourself and what you're up to, and then we're going to get into our introductions, and we got to pay some bills. So go ahead.
Sure thing. My name is Ryan Neal. I was born in Lafayette, Louisiana. Been a lifelong LSU fan my whole life. I've covered them on the field for 3 years. Talked to former head coach Brian Kelly, a couple other staff, and former players who are on the team and recruits and stuff like that. I love the team, and I know everything about them, to say the least.
All right. Broski Bears here. Yeah, it's been a while, Broski. Thank you for coming in. I'll be on with you guys on the Ken and Ken coming up soon. I've been busy with other stuff. I got my new show in Philly going on and some other things. So I'll be back soon. So, but thank you for participating in the show today. And also, I want to let everyone know this is our very first broadcast on the Sports Nuts Network. We are now part of the Sports Nuts Network. All sports programming connected with RW Media Productions is now on with the Sports Nuts as well. All right. And so we are during the week. Today we are not live, but this show will be put on later on the following stations: 95.5 KFCE in Terrell, Texas. Also, we're on 93.3 FM KJR in Seattle, and we're on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network. And I want to say aloha to all my friends in Hawaii and all our friends that are participating in our show here today, or will be part of it. 107.5 The Ticket, Montgomery, Alabama, and we are also on AM 610 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We'll be broadcasted on there sometime soon. I'm saying sometime with this show soon. During the week, we are live on there. We're simulcasted along with on our social media platforms. 105.9 on the in Easley, South Carolina, the Roar. We are on WGR 550 AM in Buffalo, New York, and we're also in several countries, including all across the United States, including in Africa. We are in several, and also on the lower 48 as well. All right. Let's get started here with the show today. But first, we're going to go to our comments section real quick here. Let's see what we have. All right. We have Go Pack Go. Congrats on your success. Thank you. Appreciate that. Hey, Broski Bear. And I see we got some of the guys from Huddle here today. So that's great to see that as well. All right, guys, let's get started here. We're going to start with you, Jeremy, first. And Ryan, both of you, I'll get your comments later. This big debacle, this big whole situation at Michigan, Michigan has egg on their face. I mean, I'm talking about serious egg, because who would have ever thought this would happen? But I'm going to say this. When I was on Beaver County Radio outside of Pittsburgh, and I had my Sports Corner show on, the general manager of the radio station is a Michigan alum. And you go in his office, he's got helmets everywhere, pictures of Jim Harbaugh, the whole 9 yards. I told him that Shamar Moore was bad for Michigan, and he told me I didn't know what I was talking about. Well, guess who's right and who's wrong? I'm right. He was wrong. Jeremy, go ahead. We'll start with you, Michigan. Go ahead.
Well, before we bring up that picture, I'm going to start with the pre-timeline, of course. Evidently, this affair between him and Paige Shivers, the executive assistant to the head coach, had been going on for several years. It came out during the court arraignment yesterday.
Wow.
So what came to a head was she ended up pregnant by him, and he paid for an abortion. And this happened a few months back. So she decided to end it, and that's where everything got weird. Come Wednesday, she had to go to the athletic director and the Regents of Michigan to let them know that she admitted about the affair, exactly what happened. She at least did the right thing and went that way. And I think in her grief of guilt, she also confessed to his wife.
Wow.
That afternoon, somewhere between 3:30 and 4:30, he was fired. And that's when all the news started to break that he was fired. And now I can give the timeline of the rest of that day. You can go ahead and bring up that picture for me, Ralph.
Yeah, sure. Here, you want this one?
Yep.
Okay.
And during an argument for a wife, he threatened to kill himself. He grabbed butter knives and scissors. He ended up breaking into the assistant's house when he left the home, held a knife to his own throat, threatened to kill her. And then he had a moment of clarity. And when he started to calm down, he left that house and went to the church. And his wife provided the police with the location where he was, because once his phone was active, she could get that. You see what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
And so he was put into protective custody. It took approximately 48 hours to be able to get them a therapist, a psychiatrist, or psychologist to meet with him to make sure that he was mentally stable enough to stand for the arraignment. That has to happen.
Crazy, man.
Custody. So all of this comes out, and then Josh Pate, he a writer for ESPN that breaks a lot of college news in the Big Ten, said that coaches around the NCAA were being approached 3 months ago by Michigan for the upcoming job this offseason, which means they knew something was happening before it happened.
Yep.
Right. Well, at least they prepared themselves if that's what they were planning on doing, Jeremy. I mean,
Yeah.
for them to know what was going on, for them to know that this was happening. And I want to give you an example of something that happened at the University of Pittsburgh that a lot of people don't know about. Okay. In 2004, Walt Harris, who was the head coach at the time before Dave Wannstedt was hired, was involved in an affair with somebody in the athletic department. The interesting part about all this was he was at a coaches convention, and there was a picture of him on Pittsburgh TV, national TV, holding hands with the woman that he was seeing on the side. He was already married to somebody else. So, a lot of people never knew what the story was with Walt Harris getting fired. That was the main reason why he got fired. Conduct unbecoming. What he did was, the University of Pittsburgh brushed it under the rug. The athletic director at the time, Jeff Long, right after the game that they lost 45-7 to Utah in that Fiesta Bowl, he ended up getting fired, and they brought in Dave Wannstedt. Okay, and that happened to him, but he did it in a different way. He was cheating on his wife. She was showing up at practices, screaming and hollering. They were having domestics, couldn't get nothing accomplished, and it was just a big mess. So they fired him. All right, it's that simple. All right, I want to Kiki Harris. I want to thank you for participating. Dilly Billy says hello. We also have he was then intercepted.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. All right.
Yeah.
And Scholars. All right.
Well, it's an awful mess. And I personally feel if you look at everything that came out and the person that's been at the head of it, and he ran off Jim Harbaugh and made the hire of Sharon Moore.
Yes.
Ward Emanuel has to be held responsible too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the way I feel. And
yeah.
I got a two-pronged question here.
Well, go ahead, Ryan. I was going to get to you next. Go ahead.
You're good. No stress. It's so with Michigan, they fired Sharon Moore a day after National Signing Day was done. They waited for all the recruits in high school to sign, and then they went and released this so that, decommitments and stuff like that. And now there's a plethora of Michigan players coming out saying, hey, release me from my letter of intent.
Actually, there's only been one.
I've seen two. There's an interior offensive lineman and a wide receiver, I thought.
Tight end,
excuse me.
It was the 4-star tight end. He's already been released from his commit. The other guy said he has not made a decision yet.
Okay. I think a lot of them are waiting until the coaching hire to see what happens.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah.
I watched interviews with them because I followed the Go Blue Wolverines page, which is directly out of Schembechler Hall with Chris Ballas. And in the interviews, most of them have said, I came here because it's Michigan. I represent the Block M, and I'm here for what Michigan has to offer outside of football.
That's what a lot of LSU players said after Brian Kelly was fired. We're after the program and the brand, not the coach.
Okay, real quick, guys, and we're going to get to LSU, and then we're going to talk about some of these bowl games that are coming up. Coaches moving around. I have a coach that I found out that resigned yesterday, and I think he'd make a good pro offensive coordinator. We'll talk about that later on in the show here. We're here till 11 a.m. We're here every Saturday morning, 10 a.m., part of the triple header of Ralph Williams Saturday. And don't forget, coming up later on 1250 The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial in Pittsburgh is the Sports Corner radio show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, Luther Dupree, every Saturday afternoon, 2 to 3 p.m. Don't forget to tune into this. We have a lot to talk about the Steelers and the Pitt and Penn State's new hire of Matt Campbell. We'll be talking about all that. It's myself, Claudia Rosano, and Smoking Jim Frazier. And because Luther had other obligations he will not be on the show today. And our special guest, Ray Fittipaldo from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Ray has been on the Saturday show here a few times. We will be going back to, after all bowl games are satisfied, to the Saturday sports show. Ryan, I'll get your opinion in just a moment here. I got to pay a couple bills. So let me get to those real quick here. I've got all these graphics all in different spots now. All right, we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios here at Studio 10 in Berlin, Maryland. Heating and air conditioning, you ought to call Mata 724-2010-500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. And please, by all means, they offer snow melt and they also offer UV lighting. If you need to get your property lit up with some UV lighting, keep the thieves away. Not only that, keep you from slipping and falling after you go shopping or come home from work or whatever. Snow melt as well to get that snow off your driveway and off your property. Also, we're sponsored by Mike Dotson Realty, Ocean City, Maryland, 410-596-1681. Call Mike today and listen very carefully. Next year, 2026, Ocean City, Maryland is charging extra money and the hotel rates are going to go up because there's a 1% increase in the hotel tax that was instituted by Worcester County by request of Ocean City. So I want to let everyone know that, not so that you don't get ripped off. You don't have to take out a loan. You don't have to mortgage your house to go to Ocean City next year. My suggestion is call Mike for a short-term rental. He has very good rates, good rentals. Give him a call, 410-596-1681. All right, this next segment is brought to you in part by, if I can find it, the doggone thing. No, that ain't it. But let's see here. I got all these. Oh, here we go. There we are. All right, BigJimsBikes.com. Big Jim's Bikes and Scooters on Ocean City's Boardwalk, 3 locations. The Grand Hotel, Somerset, and he has one other location as well, 410-289-1203. Once again, please get your scooter order in. If you're handicapped like I am, he has handicapped scooters as well. And also on BigJims.com, open all year long, and he's there for you. I was there in March. He was there for me. I was there in the summertime. He was there for me. I was there in the springtime. He was there for me. I've also referred business to Big Jim. And Big Jim is great. He's been doing this for a long time. Big Jim's Bikes and Scooters. Get a hold of him today. 410-289-1203. All right. Ryan Neal, your thoughts on this Michigan thing that we're going to talk about LSU and Lane Kiffin. Go ahead.
Sure. I think, if I had $1 for every Michigan scandal in the past 3 years, I'd have $3, I think. So it's just like, I think it was a bad hire to begin with. I think Michigan wanted to fire Sharon Moore kind of last year, but because he did fairly well, beat Ohio State, they're like, you know what, let him go. And let him cook one more year. And then I think this is a complete off the field thing. I don't think this is really the Michigan athletics department's fault. Besides, they knew about it and they let it get as bad as it did. And this is what it turned into. So end of the day, I think Michigan is on the turnaround. They're going to get a new coach. The question is, they're at the end of the coaching carousel. Most teams may have made their moves. So are they going to pick scraps? Are they going to poach Kalen DeBoer, which that will be insane. And what's going to be, that's the biggest question for them.
So
yeah, I've heard Brian Kelly's name come up. I've heard
take him.
Every name's come up.
I think Brian Kelly was the throw-in. This freeze-out that athletic directors are talking about doing with Notre Dame for not going to the bowl game after not making the CFP.
Yes, we can talk about that as well. All the teams that backed out.
So I'm going to give you the guys that I think are at the top of the list. Jed Fish, who was a former OC under Harbaugh back in 2015 and 16.
Yes.
That's the name I'm hearing thrown around. Yes. Kalen DeBoer is interesting because guess what happened Thursday? Kalen DeBoer's daughter, who's a softball player at Washington, unfollowed all of her players, the Washington softball team, and followed Michigan softball team.
What the hell?
Oh my!
So if that ends up happening, I'm not saying it is. If that ends up happening, it's weird that happened during this transfer portal period.
Yep.
Holy crap!
Yeah. Alabama's in big trouble if Kalen DeBoer leaves because
the other two.
I don't know who they're going to get.
Marcus Freeman of Notre Dame. Because of the freeze out, that he's might likely want to leave because if he's going to be freezed out of playoffs, he's not going to want to stay there.
Right.
Or out of scheduling too, because there's teams that are talking about not even scheduling out of the Power 5 conferences.
Oh yeah,
Notre Dame. So the other one is the Arizona State head coach. Those are the 4 biggest ones. I think
Kenny Dillingham's a dog.
I think all 4 of those would be way better than Brian Kelly.
Yeah, I think just about anybody's better than Brian Kelly in my eyes.
Hey, I think he's a great pick because you'll be saving LSU $54 million.
$54 million.
I know you do. I know.
Take him. Well, honestly, like Brian Kelly never fit LSU. He should have never came to begin with. It was a stretch. He missed the culture. he couldn't vibe with Louisiana. Brian Kelly would be way more successful at Michigan than LSU. And so that's
Well,
why
maybe.
that's why I understand the sentiment where people are like, well, Brian Kelly, Midwest
He
King.
was good at Cincinnati. He was
And he
really
was
good with the
Good at
Bearcats.
Central Michigan.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
that's the MAC. That's not the Big Ten.
Right.
And we saw what happened when he went to Notre Dame, and then when he went to LSU. It
Right.
has not been the same. It has not been successful. He is not a Power 5 conference coach. That's what.
I agree. I agree.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100%. We are simulcasted. We are on the Sports Nuts Network, Pensman Sports. Also, don't forget about Brian Pettit and the Tiger Stripes Media. Also, we are also on, let's see if I can, there's the Sports Nuts. And then we're also on, in Pensman, we're also on his network. And we're on the Tiger Stripes Media Network as well, which is Brian Pettit. And we're all part of the Sports Nuts Network as well. Don't forget to tune in on Tuesdays and Fridays, 7:30 p.m. For the Sports Nuts Show. Brandon Keeler, Matt Thomas, and Shane Owen. And also at times Pensman Sports, Brian Pettit, myself, we all contribute as well. Starting January 5, I will be more actively involved with the Sports Nuts Show as well. One other thing I wanted to bring to everyone's attention, do not forget, my show on Wednesday, 3 to 4 p.m., WWDB 860 AM in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, has given me some big-time love here every Wednesday, 3 to 4 p.m., the Ralph Williams Show. Don't forget to tune in. Also on 860am.com. Get online onto their website, and I'll also be on social media. And every fourth Wednesday of the month, I will be doing a live call-in show as well. So, and I was on the phone yesterday with the station manager, and he wants me to come on more days. I've only been there for 2 weeks, and already my show's popular. So, he wants me on 2 more days. So I want to let Pittsburgh know, and I'm sorry to say it like this. Thank you for not signing me up during the week on one of your stations up there, because a couple stations up there that could have signed me, woulda, shoulda, and didn't, and decided they wanted to play games with me and my radio agent. Well, guess what, folks? I'm on Philly station. I'm going to be on there a couple more days coming up real soon. So, you know what? Toodaloo, hasta la vista, and all that other stuff. But I'm still on 1250 The Answer. This morning I was on 8 to 9 a.m. with the Ralph Williams Show. And this afternoon, as I mentioned earlier, 2 to 3 p.m., the Sports Corner radio show with me, Ralph Williams, Claudia Rosano, Smoke, and Jim Frazier, our guest, Ray Fittipaldo, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. I want to thank Salem Media also for letting me put my shows on their network as well. And we're simulcasting on the Sports Nuts Network once again. We're also on my social media platform. We're on my Facebook page, 2 Facebook pages, and we're also on my YouTube channel and on Kick Network as well, and simulcasting on Kneecap Biting and the Motor City Detroit Lions. All right, let's go into we got Mickey Delaney. Morning, everyone, from Washington State. How are you, Mickey?
You're up early this Saturday, Mickey.
Yes. I'm sorry. What's that, Jeremy?
I said she's up awfully early this Saturday.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it?
3 hours behind us. So it's
7:30 a.m. Absolutely. All right, I'm going to be getting some new sponsors here, some for my handicap brethren. I want to talk about Scoot and Go. Go on Facebook, check out Scoot and Go. Go on their website. Guess what? Scoot and Go got some great Christmas specials for motorized scooters. Great Christmas specials. I just bought 2, one for my wife and one for my mom for Christmas this year. So, and the price is affordable, and all scooters are folding, and you can stick them in your vehicle and compactly put them away. All right, let's talk about LSU, Lane Kiffin, Ryan Neal. That's why I brought you on today. Ryan, go ahead about Lane Kiffin moving from Ole Miss to LSU. I heard his house is getting firebombed. People are spitting on him, throwing bubble gum at him, whatever, throwing eggs, flattening his tires. I mean, I'm just using it as a joke. You know what I mean?
Crosshairs on the head, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So there you go. All right.
With the whole thing, it's kind of like LSU made a home run hire, I think. They got a guy who's going to match the culture, who's going to bring an offensive scheme. LSU kept Blake Baker, who I think LSU had a top 3 defense in the country, with one of the worst offenses in the country, with what was being led by Coach Sloan, which is ripped to Kentucky because they hired him. And Now, Blake Baker, every game, they were holding them less than 20 points. LSU didn't score more than 24 points against a Power 4 team this year.
Wow.
That just tells you everything. And
Brian Kelly's what, a defensive guy he was? Or
offensive
was he
line. Offensive line.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And tight ends. So what's funny is when Jaden Daniels here, we have great offense, terrible defense.
Yes.
Jaden Daniels leaves, we get Blake Baker. Great defense, terrible offense. It's like if we could just like flip those a little bit, it would have been awesome. But I think Lane Kiffin was a home run hire. But for poor old Ole Miss, I just got to say this is the difference in brands. There's an LSU symbol, then there's an Ole Miss symbol. One is way more valuable. One is way better to recruit with than in Mississippi compared to Louisiana. Nick Saban was in Lane Kiffin's ear, kind of telling him to come to LSU, saying that it was a better job than Florida, because if you're in Florida, you're recruiting against, if you are UF, you're recruiting against FSU, UCF, Miami, Georgia. Alabama is then reaching their hands into the state. So it's hard to recruit. Louisiana, those guys are born and bred in the state. They're usually fans growing up, so it's easier to get them to the school. So with Ole Miss, it was with the scheduling of the NCAA. A part of it was Lane Kiffin being Lane Kiffin when leaving a job. And then for the Michigan domino, I just want to put a DEFCON 1 scenario for LSU. Michigan hires Kalen DeBoer. Who do you think Alabama goes after next? The guy who used to be in – yes. And yes, that is my biggest worry right now, is that Kalen DeBoer goes to Michigan, and Alabama then looks 4 hours away to Baton Rouge. And I think Lane Kiffin is a bigger fan of Alabama than he is LSU. So,
and that being said, he's being given a lot of money to coach LSU right now.
Yeah.
He may not do it right away, but if things don't go well,
yes,
2 years down the road,
yep,
when it's supposed to switch because he has his offensive players and his players in place, the third year is when a coach usually puts their stamp on a team. They do a little bit right away. I'm not saying that.
One guy I listened to who's pretty close to LSU is Matt Moscona, one of my favorite guys. I've talked to him a couple times. I love him. And he said that if Lane Kiffin just decided, you know what, I don't coach at LSU, I'm going to go to Alabama, the only price tag he has to pay the school is $7 million.
Wow. Right. Is that so that's all that they have to pay up then, right?
Yes. So but I mean, of course, he relinquishes the rest of his contract, but it's kind of like, I mean, if I'm Alabama, that's easy. That's easy to get right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It's going to be interesting. This coaching shuffle this year has just really been phenomenal, with what's been going on. All right. This segment was brought to you in part by North American Millwright. Highway Radio Hits. Thursdays, 1 to 3 p.m. Tune in to me, Ralph Williams, as DJ Fun, as I do my music show on Highway Radio Hits from 1 to 3 p.m. We are having a competition between two bands that have had two different lead singers. This past Thursday, I did the Van Halen and Journey. What I did was I compared Steve Perry to Arnel Pineda, and I played one song with Arnel Pineda, a song that was written by the band with Arnel singing, and I did Steve Perry. Steve Perry won that one. All right, and I did Foreigner, or not Foreigner. I will be doing Foreigner this Thursday. Kelly Hansen versus Lou Graham. Which one did you like, or do you like as the leads? I've seen them. I've seen Foreigner at least a half dozen times with both lead singers, so I've had that privilege. All right, and Journey as well, I've seen with both lead singers. So I'm going to be doing that again this week, and then also the Journey competition, and then Van Halen, we did Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth, and Sammy Hagar won that one. So it's just a lot of fun. Highway Radio Hits, tune in. I play some great music. They're the sponsor of this segment coming up right now. All right.
I got something to say about that. The difference between
Jeremy.
David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar. David Lee Roth was an excellent frontman and great live, but he was an okay singer compared to Sammy Hagar. Hagar 100% is a better singer.
Oh, Hagar was a better singer, songwriter, and he played the guitar. You know what I mean? I mean, David Lee Roth just was the one thing that I think that killed David Lee Roth's reputation was when in 2006, I think it was 15, or 16, if I'm not mistaken. And I watched it. Van Halen was on Jimmy Kimmel's show, and what happened was David Lee Roth was late showing up for the event. He was intoxicated. He had fallen, hit his nose on the ground, and he showed up with this big Band-Aid on his nose and could barely sing the lyrics. It was an embarrassing situation. After that, I think Van Halen kind of said, you know what, I think this is done again. I have no disrespect for David Lee Roth, but when you act like a child and disrespectful and everything else on Jimmy Kimmel, I mean, I could understand if you were in some club or something. I get that, but Jimmy Kimmel show live with many Americans watching, you know what I mean? And I was watching, and it was interesting to see this. And Sammy Hagar just did a tour this year. He did all his Van Halen songs. So, and he had who was the drummer for Led Zeppelin? That passed.
John Bonham.
Jason Bonham. Yeah, he had Jason Bonham as his drummer. So I just want to let everyone know that as well. So let's get away from music, get back to college football talk here. All right.
I just love music. So.
I know. Yeah. I should do a music talk show, man. I know so much about music too. It's.
What do you think?
Hey, check that out! Wow.
A '94 limited edition Detroit Lions semi and trailer that I picked up yesterday.
That's awesome. Jeremy will be joining me on Tuesday on the Sports Corner show right here on the Sports Nuts Network at 4:00 p.m. or 4:30. Jeremy, I need you at 4:30. Is that okay?
That's fine. Okay, you said on Tuesday though, right?
Yeah, Tuesday 4:30.
I'm good. Yeah,
because at 4:00 I got Dwayne Thomas coming on, and we're going to talk about for the very first time that I've ever talked about. I've been on shows where we have guests, but the first time I've ever talked about it is mental health and athletics. Okay, I got a gentleman coming on. His name is Dwayne Thomas. He is someone who was involved, or an athlete with a mental health issue. I believe he wrote a book, but he's going to come on and talk with us about how he handled it, because there are different ways it can be handled, different ways that athletes handle their mental health. And this is the very first time I've ever done this. So you guys are all going to have to bear with me on Tuesday, because I've never had someone on like this that covers mental health. His name's Dwayne Thomas. He's a friend of mine. He's a friend of Brandon Keeler, who's been a very good person to me. And he recommended me to have him on. He's he's involved in mental health. And I believe he has a book. He was an athlete, and we'll see what happens from there. All right. North Carolina lost their offensive coordinator this week, Freddie Kitchens. Now, those of you who don't remember who Freddie Kitchens was, he was the offensive coordinator at Cleveland. Then he got bumped up to head coach. Okay. Freddie Kitchens resigned as offensive coordinator at North Carolina. It looks like the Bill Belichick era there is about to end, I think, unless it's going to go a couple more years. His buyout's only $1.6 million. This has been an embarrassing debacle. I've talked about this before. Ryan, let's talk about this. Freddie Kitchens gone. Now Freddie Kitchens is available. Chip Kelly's available. We got a whole bunch of guys getting available here. Coach is still out there looking for jobs. I heard Eric Bieniemy's name come up for a couple college coaching jobs as well. Ryan, go ahead. Freddie Kitchens, North Carolina. Go ahead.
I'm kind of what do you mean? Where do I think he's going to go, or what?
Yeah. Where do you think he could go, Ryan?
Well, right now I'm just looking at the coaching vacancies available right now. We have Iowa State who's available, who's looking for a coach. Penn State's going to be looking for offensive coordinators, stuff like that. With But who is I can't think of his name right. Matt Campbell. Yeah, Matt Campbell just got hired over there. Yeah.
Penn State,
great hire.
I think it's a great hire, but it's also I just my lifetime. I'm 26 years old. I've never seen Penn State amount to anything. So it's just kind of. I just mean to be. I'm just being.
Me and I have seen them when they were great with Joe Paterno. I mean, that's
right.
You know what I mean? I went to get many Penn State games up at Pitt Stadium and whatnot. Trust me, I've seen some of their games, So.
I'm sure, and I've seen some electric moments from that crowd on TV in my lifetime, and it's awesome. But I don't understand why. And I'm sorry to kind of bring this to something else.
Fine, go ahead.
Why Penn State waited? They fired James Franklin end of September.
Yeah, I
beginning
thought they should
October.
have gave the job to Terry Smith. I really do. They should have
Yeah.
just handed him the job. I mean, he did a good job filling in as an interim coach. He's got him in a bowl game. So, and they ended up in some mediocre bowl anyway. They would have ended up with James Franklin like that. They should have not pulled the plug on this till the end of the season.
I agree.
They pulled the trigger too far ahead of time. And then
Harvard has a better recruiting class than Penn State.
They end up with egg on their face too.
Yeah,
because big egg.
They waited too long.
Right?
And exactly. it ruined the recruiting class too. I mean, last I checked, Harvard has a better recruiting class than Penn State. What the hell is even that? And James,
hey, don't spell Harvard out, man. They had a good football team. Not too long ago.
Well, it's in the classroom, not on the field.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah,
and
they're good for lawyers and stuff like that.
James Franklin takes the VT job in Virginia Tech, and then boom, all these guys from Penn State are joining him down there. It's kind of like, okay, well, I don't know. I just feel like the athletic department at Penn State really dropped the ball on this. They should have waited, let it happen, and then now their arms up in the air. Now we got to wait for the transfer portal season to really go actually get a sound team.
Yeah, exactly. And they all went with James Franklin down to Virginia Tech.
Yep.
And I think James Franklin's going to have that program moving along there, guys.
Watch out for the ACC.
Virginia, yeah, exactly. Jeremy, go ahead. Your thoughts on this Freddie Kitchens stepping down?
My thing is, it depends on what it was. If it's just because he can't handle coaching anymore, I get it. If it's because of health reasons, I get it. If it's mental health, I get it. Because there are many factors that make people walk away from something they love.
NIL made Jeff Hafley walk away. He said, "I had enough."
It did it to Nick Saban too, because he was tired of not having the only paid team in the SEC.
Yeah, exactly. So,
come on, Ryan, you love that thing.
I love the joke. Well, isn't that what Shane Gillis did to Nick Saban when he was on? Yeah, that was hysterical.
Exactly.
That was hysterical.
Exactly.
It's like what Coach O said on a show like last week that now instead you used to pay players through the back door. Now you just walk right through the front door.
Right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know what you're saying on that. I just wish Pitt would get themselves together a little bit better with the NIL and recruiting and stuff. Western Pennsylvania is full of talent. Florida's full of talent, and they for some reason go outside the box and Penn State's got two great recruiters up there. They're keeping Terry Smith for another 4 years, and they got Bob Pelko, who won the Sports Illustrated High School Football Coach of the Year 2 years ago.
Wow.
So those guys are very good at coaching or recruiting in Western Pennsylvania. All right, let's get into the teams that turned down their bowl games. All right, this is an interesting list here. And I have it here, and I got to look for it. Hold on, excuse me. Didn't have it ready. I don't know why. All right. Teams that decline their bowl games. Let's get started. Notre Dame. All right, guys. I think we all agree Notre Dame shouldn't have done this, but they did. They make so much money on their NBC contract that it's just unbelievable. And, you never can have enough money, and you have to, you can't cost the university money by turning down bowl games. Yep. It's unbelievable here. I would have never thought Notre Dame would have done this. Go ahead, Jeremy. You start first with this about Notre Dame. We're going to break these teams down. And I know, by the way, Ryan has to get going. He has prior obligations. Ryan, what do you have?
I got a couple more minutes.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, go ahead, Jeremy.
Notre Dame dropping out of the CFP, that's the equivalent of Eric Cartman going, "I'm taking my guys and go home." I'm sorry. And a lot of athletic directors that do the scheduling for these universities in the Power 5 conferences, I know of 10 already, have said, we won't schedule them ever again.
Fair game. I think it's a fair game.
Yeah.
That's a freeze out, and they deserve it. Because the only reason they're doing this and the only reason they haven't joined the conference is they don't want to have to share that money from NBC with the conference like every other school has for their contract for sponsorship.
Oh, yeah. They don't want to share it with the ACC. They consider themselves in the ACC, so. All right, Sharon, listening while walking the dog and freezing my butt off, says Beaver. All right.
Beaver Nugget.
Yeah.
I love the name.
All right, guys. All right, some great comments today. I want to thank everybody for participating in that as well. And so it's been a great day this morning. Great show here on the Sports Nuts Network. All RW Media Production sports shows are now simulcasted and also across the country. Later on, these will be simulcasted on some radio stations. I mentioned them earlier. So, all right, let's go into the next one. Kansas State. No, I believe Kansas State also turned down a bowl game. Start with you, Ryan. Go ahead, Kansas State.
Every other team, I don't mind doing this. I don't mind sitting out of a bowl game, whether they're 6-6. I know some teams, even that were 5-7, Auburn and FSU were offered a bowl game, which I'm like, no, you got to be at least 500.
Right.
And if your season wasn't that good, you have a lot of opt-outs. You have some players who are waiting for the draft or entering the transfer portal, and you don't want to play it. I understand,
it's all about money.
But I think it's bad for the university, as in one, they're getting less money, and then it's for the players too. The ones who are maybe looking for playing time next year or looking to enter the transfer portal, this is tape, film for their team to look at or for a potential other team to look at for them to get transferred to. So that's where I always say, yes, the bowl game's pointless, but it's not pointless for the players and it's not pointless for the wallets.
No, that's the thing. I want to say that too. These smaller schools like FAU, UCF, all those smaller schools that don't get the national stage. A bowl game is a national stage where you're on one channel that entire game, which puts eyes on you that are normally not seen, whether it is professional scouts that are at home watching the game, not at the game. It gives them game film. It gets game film in front of draft scouts, which move people up the board. Like one Mr. Isaac Tesla that, Arkansas last year was not that good of a team. But the way he played in the bowl game and the Shrine Bowl and everything else is why he moved up to third round.
Yeah, he was awesome too. I watched him against LSU a couple times, and he was insane. Isaac Tesla, and an awesome name, by the way.
Yeah, Tesla is how it's pronounced. Slavic. Let's get it right. But I said when we drafted him, because I do a live draft show, and for the Lions, I said, "Look at that, the Fords bought a Tesla." But anyways, talk about making the most out of a little. He averages about 15 to 18 snaps a game. He's had 8 catches on 12 targets and 4 touchdowns.
All right, now let's get into not only Kansas State. Let's talk about the University of the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Greg Schiano's still there. I think he'll be a Joe Paterno. He'll be there forever. He'll be 80 years old, still coaching Rutgers. Nothing wrong with that, of course. I don't have an issue with that. But Rutgers, they're always 6-5, 7-5. They're satisfied with that. They like being in the Big Ten. They're in the wrong conference. They need to be in the AAC or something like that, or MAC conference. Rutgers, they're not that type of team to be in the Big Ten, but they turn their bowl game down as well. We're not going to go into Rutgers that much because we don't talk about Rutgers much. They've sort of fallen under the radar since they went to the Big Ten. When they were in the Big East, they were not a bad football team, but now that they're in the Big Ten, forget it. Yeah. All right, Iowa State, we know why they turned theirs down. Matt Campbell leaving for Penn State kind of took the wind out of their sails. I think we all three of us will agree that was a good move for them to do that. All right, Baylor. All right, Baylor. Thoughts on Baylor? Okay, we'll start with you, Ryan.
What was the reason for staying? I did not know Baylor was not playing. Well, why? Yeah, are they just because Dave Aranda is still the head coach, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Did they just suck? Why did they not?
They're supporting Notre Dame. That is what I heard.
Yeah, really.
It's out of support to Notre Dame.
These teams with gold helmets, man. It's these guys with these gold helmets who are just all out of whack with them. It's something wrong with them. And with the Notre Dame thing, they've always been petty. They think they're the biggest brand in college football, yet they haven't been relevant since the Jim Crow laws. So it's just like I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Notre Dame. Never have been.
Notre Dame, the last time they actually were relevant, let's be real, it was the 90s when it was the Catholics versus convicts rivalry with Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, Georgia. So looks like Georgia Southern turned down a game. Florida State, Temple, Rutgers, Baylor, Kansas, UCF, and Auburn. I'm surprised Auburn. Well, Auburn's got a new coach now. They got
Right.
Alex Golish from South Florida. So
Home run hire, I hope, for them.
Oh yeah.
As a USF fan and guy's been to a couple of their games, that's a good coach right there. I think he can actually, with that NIL package that Auburn is giving him, I think he can go and do a lot, to say the least. And I think with his ties to Florida and specifically South Florida, that's going to help Auburn a lot.
Yeah, Hal Mume being down there, he should have stayed at Liberty. He did a really good job at Liberty, and then they hired him down there, and he kind of stunk the joint up a little bit, which, of course, that does happen. But, sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side, guys,
right.
and we all see that. We see that all the time. I mean, he should have stayed at Liberty. He had it made there, and I get it. You always want to make more money. You always want to improve yourself, but sometimes you got to stay with what works. All right, here we are. All right, there we are with that. And I want to thank everybody in the comments section today. Ryan, I know you have to get going. Ryan, tell everybody about yourself, promote your brand, and I know you work with Amped Up Sports.
Yep.
Haggerty, Peter Blake, and all them guys there. I want to thank you for that as well. They're great people. I work with them as well. So go ahead, Ryan.
Again, Ryan Neal. You can find me on my Instagram, ryan.nealster, Nealster. Also on Amped Up Sports website. You can type in Amped Up Sports, will pop up. Leo Haggerty is my boss. Love the guy to death. He's on talk shows all across the country, I feel like, whether it's basketball, football, baseball. Hell, I even think he talks about curling. I don't even know. But
yeah, he'll be, speaking of Leo, he'll be back on this show coming in January after the football season's over. So call it football season. And don't forget to tune into our bowl show. That's coming up next week. We're going to be talking about the Bulls as we go along here. We will continue the college football show going into January until all Bulls are satisfied. Then after the Bulls are over, then we're going to go back to the Saturday sports show. We got UFL coming up, baseball training camps coming up. A lot, some things moving around with the winter meetings. We'll be talking about all that stuff coming up in the spring as well. So in the playoff picture for the NFL and the Super Bowl and all that stuff. So there's going to be a lot to talk about on a Saturday sports show coming up in January. Ryan, you have yourself a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you again. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Bye. All right,
Ryan,
brother.
Bye-bye. Ryan Neal from Amped Up Sports covers LSU football, New Orleans Saints, and so on. All right, Jeremy, it's just you and me for the next 5 or 10 minutes here as we go along here. Your thoughts on these teams turning down these bowl games? I'm not going to go into each individual team because
I'm not going to go into it. I'm going to do a blanket statement. Shame on you for not letting the players play on a national stage.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
Because this is supposed to be about the players.
Right.
And they're making it about trying to hurt the NCAA and their money overall. One of these lesser teams that nobody knows about. And I don't care what it is. They could bring up an FCS or an FDS school or even a community college.
Right.
Let them get out there and play. Let them have
a prison team. A prison team like the Mean Machine or something.
Well, that might be coached by Sharon Moore shortly.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Hey, you know what? He's got the talent if that's the case. But here's the thing here, too. You think you're punishing the NCAA? The NCAA makes enough money. You're not punishing them. Okay, that's the whole useless thing of what they're doing here. It's totally useless and it's childish. All right, and like you said, the kids get affected by that because they don't get to show themselves on a national perspective. And then on top of all that, the university's losing money. I don't understand with today's day and age with these universities and this NIL. I'd be worried about losing $1.
So,
no matter what happens.
You could take one of those teams that just got a new coach like Michigan State that just hired Pat Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
And put them in the place of one of those 5 and 7 teams, and they'll be happy to be there.
But
you know what?
Exactly.
It's not just them that makes the money. The two that sat out of the Big Ten, they'll still get paid.
Right.
Which that's not fair. If you're not going to play, don't get paid.
Exactly. And they should be punished. And the NCAA is weak. You and I have had this discussion. I've discussed it all over the shows I've been on all across the country. All right. The NCAA needs to get their structure together, and they need to get it done, and they need to get it done soon because this is a runaway freight train. This is a bus that's going off the road, and it has to end.
You and I talked about it, and I said within the next 10 years, the NCAA will probably no longer be a ruling factor over college sports.
No, No, they
because of
have to
how they
do
let,
something.
but they're letting the inmates run the assignment in
Yeah.
asylum in football.
Yes, and you can't do that. I mean, the NIL. I've said this many times, needs a salary cap. All right, you need to put a cap on there. Tell every university or whatever it's based on their income and their student body and all that stuff. Just like you do in high school. All right, if you don't have enough students to fill the football team, you drop down a class. All right, I've seen that happen.
Yep. What I suggested, instead of capping it, let them pay them as much as they want, but cap how much they can receive on a monthly basis. Make it no more than they need for housing, food, and whatever the classes cost per month.
Right. Right.
Cap it off. Let's say a round figure. Let's say $7,000 a month. Cap it off there.
Right.
That way,
Exactly.
it's like they're making a nice mid-level income anywhere else, and they can't blow all their money at once.
I use this example all the time. Deion Sanders' one son is bankrupt. Okay. These athletes are going bankrupt. Yeah, they're going bankrupt because of this. They're spending their money foolishly. And when you're young and in college, you really don't think, you just spend your money like the way you are. You're away from mommy and daddy. You don't have their wisdom there, and you're out there spending all kinds of money and buying all kinds of things. And what happens is now they're going bankrupt. And you know what? I don't think the NCAA cares, because if they did, they would have classes on this. Like these athletes, or the universities should have classes. They should have people training these kids. Hey, watch your money. This is what you need to do. Put some away. I know your parents need it. Maybe you've lived in low income housing your whole life, and you're there because your family needs the money. I get that. Okay. But you can't be bankrupt when you're 18 years old and trying to get into the pros, and you're bankrupt already. But before you even make it to get the big money in the pros. I mean,
it's something that we need to bring back in high school. When you and I went to high school, they had a class that we were required to take called home ec, which taught you how to budget and balance.
Yeah, home economics.
Make a budget, buy food, cook it. It made you do all of that. It also.
Hey, I learned how to write out a check and finances a little bit in school.
Balancing the checkbook and writing a check was taught in that class.
Yeah.
That class went away in the early 90s, and it hasn't came back.
Hasn't come back since. Yep, exactly.
It's an elective. It's still there. It's still taught, but nobody takes it.
Right, exactly. And
when it was a requirement.
Well, the universities need to start doing this, because I'm going to tell you what, right now, a lot of these kids are going to go bankrupt again. There's going to be a whole mess of them out there. And the problem is we're going to have with this, Jeremy, is the fact that it's going to get so far out of hand. I don't think they can contain it. The NCAA is already involved in a runaway train that they can't stop, and it's a mess.
As soon as they lost that Supreme Court case, they should have sat down and said, "Okay, what's the average monthly income a student needs to pay for college out of pocket?"
Right.
That's housing, food, everything they need, utilities, car payment.
Right.
Lump it all in there, and then say, "Okay, $7,000 per month, or $10,000 per month, or $5,000, whatever it was."
Do it like a nursing home. Nursing homes take your money when you put your loved ones in there, and they give them a $60 siphon or something to go whatever.
Well, that's maybe do that. That should be the stipend, and the rest of it goes into a trust fund for when they graduate or go pro. That's what I was getting at.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and also to cover their tuition. You know what I mean? I mean, so.
Because what happens if you're a walk-on? You get some NIL money because you're good, but you don't make the team the next year.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So if you're getting all that money up front and you blow it all, and then you don't have the money, you have to drop out of college because you can't afford it, because they took away that quarter scholarship they gave you as a walk-on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do that. Okay. Jeremy, it's been a pleasure as always. Promote yourself. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Well, you can find my writings about the Lions and other teams in the NFL on the southfloridatribute.com. You can also find it on roundtable.io for my takes on the Jaguars and the Buccaneers. Then you can find me on my channel, which is Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions, where I go live every day. And when I stream with somebody else, I stream it to my channel as well, simulcast. That way we get comments and everything else. I just hate this whole sitting out the bowl game thing more than I even hate the NIL. The NIL, I get it. The NCAA has been making billions off of these kids for years, and it's about time they got something out of it. But other than that, I hate it.
Yeah, well, at least they made some new rules for the transfer portal. They need to do the coaching thing too. Once until your team's bowl game is satisfied, you can't do anything until it's
Right.
satisfied. And I don't want to hear, oh well, they want to get coaches in there for recruiting. Well, then they can recruit after their bowl game's over. You know what I mean?
Well,
You know.
that's why I think they hit this with the Sharon Moore thing. Because they waited to fire him until the day after signing day, and that was a mistake.
Yeah. No, it was because now what have you done? Wasted time and money. You wasted time and money and resources getting these kids to come in here, and then all of a sudden you fired a coach, and now the kids are gone. Then you got to start all over again, and that's bad.
I mean, and yes, there is a second recruiting phase after the CFP is over. We all know this,
right?
Because there's signing day, and that's for your future commit, not your commit this season. So they need to get this done and get somebody hired now. And if they are trying to hire somebody that's in the CFP, they're going to be waiting till they're knocked out. And teams like Indiana, Alabama, and everybody else are favorites.
All right. Our closing remarks are brought to you in part by North American Millwright Construction and Contracting. North American Millwright did work on my house, and let me tell you something. They're very professional, very fair, and they will give you the best price they can. They do work West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland, New Jersey, and Delaware. So call North American Millwright today. Tell them Ralph Williams sent you, and that number is 410-388-9870. That number again is 410-388-9870. North American Millwright Construction and Contracting. All right. Jeremy, thank you for being part of the program today. I appreciate it. And we'll have you come on some other time. And we'll talk to you on Tuesday, 4:30 p.m. Sports Corner Show right here on the Sports Nuts Network and all my other social media platforms as well. And don't forget about later on this afternoon, 2 to 3 p.m., the Sports Corner Radio Show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano. Luther will not be joining us. It's his birthday, and also his son graduated from college, and so he was not available for the show today. And our guest is Ray Fittipaldo, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette columnist who covers the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, one quick note: tomorrow, Brian Pettit, Pensman, and myself are Brian Pettit and I more or less. Pensman's on a trip right now, and I'm not sure if he's going to be back, but we're going to be doing a show tomorrow. It's going to be a post-game NFL show instead of a post-game Steelers show because Steelers play Monday night. We don't do Monday night football game post-games, but we will be doing a post-game. It's going to be called an NFL post-game, and we're going to talk some more about this Michigan situation as well tomorrow afternoon. We're looking at maybe around 5 o'clock. Stay tuned to my social media platform, Sports Nuts, and also the Tiger Stripes Media and Pensman Sports for all your details. Until next Saturday, I'm Ralph Williams for Jeremy BALLREICH. Everybody have yourselves a great day, and please, by all means, stay warm and please be safe as well. Thank you, and once again, please be safe, I urge you. And also stay warm and stay out of cold, and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if I don't talk to you. Or if you're going on an early trip to get out of town for Christmas, have yourself a Merry Christmas and New Year. Have a good one. Thank you.